Welcome to the Wally the Wobot Development Podcast, Episode 3.
Hey there.
Today we're celebrating, well, a pretty massive milestone, the release of Wally version 0.40, that's 0.40.
Yep, 0.40 is out.
And this isn't just, a number bump in the changelog. It really feels like a significant leap forward for Wally's architecture, its capabilities, and something really exciting, its community.
That's absolutely right. This whole cycle, it was incredibly fast, actually. Just 17 days.
Wow, 17 days.
Yeah, to get from 0.36 all the way to 0.40, we packed in something like 50 commits across 5 major releases and 4 patch releases. It was intense.
That's incredible speed.
So today we want to unpack some of that. We'll get into the big architectural refactoring that's honestly setting Wally up for the long haul. We'll talk about some really cool new integrations and look at the improvements that make life better for you, the developer using Wally.
And the really big news, the part I'm super excited about.
Right.
We're highlighting the very first community contribution to Wally.
That's a huge moment.
It really is. It's more than just code. It feels like validation, doesn't it? That Wally's maturing, that it's having a real impact out there.
Definitely. So yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, so where do we start? That architectural refactoring sounds fundamental.
It really is. It's probably the most significant change in this whole cycle. We've shifted to a much cleaner, let's call it a 3-layer design, specifically for Wally's GitLab tools.
3 layers.
And this wasn't just, tidying up. It was a very deliberate move to boost testability, make it easier to maintain, and crucially, make it way more extensible going forward.
That makes sense. Easier to build on. But what does 3-layer design actually mean in practice? Like, if I'm using Wally's GitLab tools, how does this structure help me?
Good question. It's really about separating responsibilities. Think of it like, distinct departments in a company. Each layer has a clear job.
Okay.
So first, you've got the presentation layer. This is basically how the tools interact with the outside world, how they handle parameters you pass in. It's the user interface, so to speak, for the tool.
Got it. How I tell Wally what to do.
Exactly. Then there's the business logic layer. This is the core. It's where the actual operations and workflows happen within GitLab, like, creating an MR, analyzing pipeline results, that kind of thing.
The brains of the operation.
Pretty much. And finally, the data access layer. This layer handles all the direct communication with the GitLab API itself. It fetches data, sends commands, manages the data models we use.
Okay. So the layers talk to each other, but they stay in their own lanes. If you change how Wally fetches data from GitLab, it shouldn't mess up the core logic or how I interact with the tool.
Precisely. That separation is key. It makes Wally much more modular, easier to extend, easier to test, and frankly, much less likely to break unexpectedly.
That's a huge win for stability.
And this wasn't just theory. This new foundation immediately let us build some powerful new stuff. For instance, Wally can now act as an MCP server, Model Context Protocol.
MCP server.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds significant. What exactly is MCP, and why is Wally acting as a server a big deal?
So what's really cool here is MCP allows Wally to basically offer up its GitLab tools to other AI systems.
Oh, wait. So Wally, with all its knowledge about GitLab, it can now share that expertise with other AIs.
Exactly. Imagine another AI assistant, or maybe even a totally different application, needing to do something complex in GitLab. Instead of figuring it out itself, it can just ask Wally, the GitLab expert, via MCP.
Wow. So Wally becomes like a specialized consultant for other AI systems.
You got it. A GitLab tool provider, a concrete example. We could potentially integrate directly with something like Claude Desktop, letting it leverage Wally's GitLab capabilities.
That opens up a lot of possibilities for embedding Wally into bigger workflows.
It really does. Now, to make this work smoothly, we also had to tackle something we called an architecture inversion fix.
Okay.
It was basically an issue where the new MCP tools and Wally's internal tools, the swarm agents,
The specialized AI assistants within Wally.
right, they had some unintended dependencies. They were stepping on each other's toes a bit. This fix ensures they're properly separated, keeps things modular.
So making sure all the internal parts play nicely together. And I guess there were some technical tweaks too, right? Like API key handling for MCP mode.
Yeah, smaller but important things. We made MCP server mode skip API key validation for certain use cases, added a specific tool, get project by just for MCP, and fixed parameter handling for things like max tokens across different AI models. Little things that ensure it runs smoothly.
All those details add up to a more robust system.
Yeah, absolutely. They make a real difference.
Okay, this next one feels like a really major milestone. You mentioned it earlier. the first community contribution.
Yes. Version 0.39.0, this was huge. Support for OpenRouter models.
OpenRouter, and this came from outside the core team.
Completely. It was contributed by Mateus Samajda at Matisse on GitHub from a company called Primary Portal. Sent in via merge request 130, issue 180 for those tracking.
That's fantastic. Huge thanks to Mateos and Primary Portal. So why is this first contribution so significant? Beyond just being first, I mean.
Well, a few reasons. First, it's real validation. It shows that companies like Primary Portal are actually using Wally, not just testing it out, but relying on it daily in production. That's massive.
Real-world usage driving improvement. Love it.
Second, OpenRouter itself is a big deal. It instantly gives Wally access to, I don't know, dozens of different large language models, including things like Gemini, all through one API.
So more choice for users. If I'm using Wally, I can now potentially plug in many more kinds of AI brains.
Exactly. Much more flexibility depending on your needs or budget. And third, it really marks the growth of the community. It shows the project is mature enough, stable enough that others feel confident contributing back. It sets a great precedent.
That's a powerful signal.
And it was driven by a real need. Mateus's company needed OpenRouter for their workflow. They built it, contributed it back. And honestly, thanks to the way Wally's already structured, it was a relatively straightforward change, but the impact is huge.
I remember seeing the buzz when this was announced on the GitLab subreddit. People were genuinely excited, especially about getting access to models like Gemini through this.
Yeah, the community response was great. It really landed well. People immediately saw the value.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Another area that got a major boost was DevOps support, specifically around CI/CD pipelines. Version 0.36.0 seems to have added a whole new level of capability there.
Oh, absolutely. This was about giving Wally deep visibility and control over GitLab CI/CD. Before this, interacting with pipelines was, well, limited. Now, it's comprehensive.
So what can Wally actually do with pipelines now? It sounds like more than just viewing status.
Way more. You can get detailed info on a specific pipeline, get pipeline bide, list all the jobs within it, list pipeline jobs, and drill down into individual job details, get jobbied.
Okay, that's useful for inspection.
But, crucially, you can also get the full job logs with pagination, which is essential for long logs, get job log. You can filter just the failed jobs, list failed jobs, which is awesome what you need right now, and you can even pull up the test report summary, get pipeline test report.
Test reports too. Nice. And control.
You can cancel a running job or even the whole pipeline. Cancel job, cancel pipeline. And if something failed transiently, you can retry jobs or pipelines too. Retry job, retry pipeline. Plus, tools for discovery, like finding the latest pipeline for a branch or MR, get latest pipeline, list merger request pipelines.
Wow. Okay. That's a serious toolkit. Instead of clicking around the GitLab UI, you can just ask Wally to diagnose, report, and even fix common pipeline issues. That sounds like a huge time saver.
That's exactly the goal. Bring that control right into your AI assistant. And to handle all this new information cleanly, we introduced proper data models.
Right, the structured data.
Yeah, models for pipeline, pipeline job, pipeline test report. It means Wally gets consistent, reliable data about status, timing, test results, everything. Makes the AI's job easier, which means better results for you.
And related to code, I saw improvements for handling large commits too.
Yes, good point. In 0.40, we added pagination to list commit ifs. If you have a commit touching hundreds of files, Wally doesn't try to load it all at once anymore.
Prevents it from choking on massive change sets.
Exactly. And we added file pattern matching for diffs too. So you can say, show me the changes in just the Python files, or just the files in this specific directory. Much more targeted analysis.
Very useful for focusing reviews or debugging.
And naturally, all these new CI/CD and commit tools were distributed to the right internal agents, the ones that handle code and repository tasks. We even added some nice pipeline icons to the UI, little touches.
It sounds like a really comprehensive upgrade for anyone dealing with GitLab's core developer workflows.
We think so. It addresses a lot of common pain points.
Now, alongside these big features, there was clearly a lot of work on just making Wally more reliable, improving the developer experience for people working on Wally, and fixing bugs. Let's touch on some of those critical improvements. File reading limits.
Yes, that was important.
Yeah.
We found Wally could run into memory issues if asked to read, say, a gigantic log file directly from a repo.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
So we made specifying line ranges mandatory for file reading tools. You had to tell it, read lines 100 to 200, for example. It forces more specific requests and prevents Wally from accidentally trying to load a gigabyte file into memory.
A safety measure, basically,
Right.
and encouraging better prompting.
Precisely. We also had some interesting learnings around agent trumps.
Oh,
Right?
the instructions you give the AI agents.
Yeah. We implemented something called semantic compression, thinking it would save tokens, make prompts more efficient.
Sounds logical.
It backfired. We found it was actually causing agent failures in some cases.
Yeah.
The compression was maybe too aggressive or losing nuance,
Yeah.
so we had to revert that across like 10 different agent templates.
Wow, so optimization isn't always optimal. A good lesson in prompt engineering.
Definitely. We also made the repository management agent always try searching before attempting actions and added explicit instructions to prompts about using line numbers when referencing code, just making agent behavior more predictable and reliable.
Fine-tuning based on how they actually behave. Makes sense. What about error handling?
Critical area. We fixed an issue where permission errors could sometimes fail silently. Super frustrating when that happens.
Yeah. Nothing worse than a silent failure.
We also put guards in place to handle potential infinite loops if Wally hit API request limits or token quotas. Don't want it getting stuck. And just better handling of none values coming back from the GitLab API, sometimes preventing unexpected crashes.
Those sound like foundational stability improvements, the kind you don't notice until they save you from a weird bug.
Exactly. We also added configurable timeouts for the agent swarm. If a complex task is running too long, it'll now time out gracefully after, by default, 300 seconds. Just better resource management.
Good safety net. And for developers contributing to Wally itself.
Big improvements there, too. We migrated from pip to UV for installing Python dependencies. DUV is way faster. It significantly speeds up getting a development environment ready.
Oh, nice. Faster builds are always welcome.
And we upgraded the underlying stack, Node.js v22, Python 3.13, Alpine Linux 3.22, just keeping Wally modern, performant, and secure.
Staying current. Good practice. And a few API parameter fixes, too.
Yeah, little things that smooth out interactions. Fixing remove source branch behavior, ensuring branches get created before trying to make an MR against them, setting better defaults for optional parameters, removing a confusing all parameter from search tools, just cleaning up rough edges based on usage.
Plus general compatibility fixes and better testing infrastructure, it sounds like.
Yep, lots of under-the-hood work to make everything more robust.
So looking back at this really intense 17-day cycle, pushing out 5 major versions, what are the big lessons learned? What stands out?
Well, first off, architecture really matters. That 3-layer refactoring wasn't easy, but it immediately paid off in terms of enabling new features like MCP and just making the code base healthier. It reinforces building on a solid foundation.
The upfront investment pays off later.
Absolutely. Second, user feedback is gold. Seriously. Many of the most critical fixes, the permission errors, the quota handling, the file reading limits, came directly from people using Wally in the real world and telling us what broke or what was frustrating. We can't find everything ourselves.
So keep that feedback coming, folks.
Please do. Third, prompt engineering is delicate. That semantic compression reversal was a humbling reminder. What seems like a logical optimization for an AI can have unintended side effects you have to test and observe carefully.
It's not just pure logic with these LLMs.
Not at all. And finally, observability is key. Giving Wally better tools to inspect CI/CD, for example, isn't just a feature for you. It helps us understand how GitLab behaves, helps the AI debug issues. Better visibility helps everyone.
Those are great takeaways. And ultimately, why should someone listening care about all these technical details and fixes? What's the so what for them?
The so what is that Wally is now more stable, it's more powerful, especially around CI/CD and code analysis, and it's easier to integrate with other tools thanks to MCP. It means your experience using Wally should be smoother, more reliable, and it can help you tackle more complex tasks within GitLab. It makes your workflow better.
A more capable and dependable AI assistant for your GitLab work.
That's the aim.
And that community aspect really shone through this cycle. Again, a massive thank you to Matos Sumaja for that first external contribution. Incredible. And thanks to everyone reporting bugs, testing things out, giving feedback. It's invaluable.
It truly is. And the discussions that sparked up on Reddit around the v39.0 release with OpenRouter were fascinating. People immediately started comparing Wally to GitLab Duo.
Yeah, I saw that. Folks were calling Wally a potentially better and cheaper open source alternative.
Right. They were highlighting Wally's strengths, particularly around interacting with issues. MISRs, the deep CI pipeline inspection we just talked about, code review help, things that maybe Duo doesn't focus on as much or handles differently, being closed source and integrated into the Web IDE.
It shows there's a real appetite for a powerful, focused, open source tool in this space.
Definitely. The community also showed clear interest in seeing more demos, asking about local LLM support, which is a whole other challenge, and, as we mentioned, excitement about Gemini integration, which they quickly figured out was possible via OpenRouter.
The community is actively exploring and figuring things out. That's great to see. And people seem genuinely intrigued by Wally working on its own code
Oh,
base.
yeah, a robots making robots idea.
Yeah.
People find that fascinating. It really drives home that Wally isn't static. It's a project that's actively learning and improving itself using its own capabilities.
It's a pretty cool feedback loop. So, looking ahead then, what's the trajectory?
Well, the future looks really promising. That MCP server capability opens doors for much wider integrations we haven't even thought of yet. The cleaner architecture means we can add future features more confidently and quickly.
Solid base to build upon.
Exactly. And the improved reliability,
Yeah.
the growing community engagement, it all sets the stage for Wally to scale, to become even more capable. We'll definitely see more community ideas and contributions driving things forward, I think. Wally's really finding its niche as this powerful FOSS tool for GitLab users.
The momentum feels strong.
It really does.
So, as we wrap up, here's something to think about. Wally is on this journey of self-improvement, evolving its own architecture, learning from its interactions. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What parts of your own daily workflow, those tasks that feel complex or maybe just repetitive, could be fundamentally transformed by having an intelligent tool alongside you, a tool that learns and adapts to help you navigate your development world more effectively?
It's a powerful question to consider.
We definitely encourage you to check out Wally, explore what it can do now with version 0.40, and maybe even think about contributing yourself. Thanks for tuning in to the Wally the Wobot Development Podcast.